Top 10 Biblical Archaeology Discoveries in Recent Time. Archaeological discoveries announced recently continue to add context to our understanding of the Bible. Many archaeologists and scholars resist the idea that archaeology proves the Bible. But many of the mainstream media stories announcing these discoveries acknowledge that the Bible was right all along as it concerns these instances we are going to cover in this video. Please note that most of these significant discoveries of biblical archaeology may not be known for a number of years until the work is published in peer-reviewed scientific publications. Also note that the list is based on news media reports. Having stated this, let's get started. Archaeologist Nelson Glegg's declaration that no archaeological discovery has ever controverted a biblical reference still stands to this day. So, let's take a look at 10 of the most important biblical archaeology discoveries in recent time. The Philistines had European ancestry. A DNA extracted from skeletons excavated from burials at the Philistine city of Ashkelon in modern-day Israel showed European ancestry. This confirms what has long been believed and what the Bible says about the Philistines. According to Jeremiah chapter 47 verse 4 and Amos chapter 9 verse 7, this connects the Philistines with Kaftor, which has been identified as Crete, the home of the Minoan civilization. The DNA record shows that the Philistines quickly intermarried with the local population, diluting the genetic signature. Archaeologists studying copper slag deposit from Timah in Israel and Fenan in Jordan, the two sites south of the Dead Sea, found that Edomites used advanced standardized techniques more than 3,000 years ago to mine copper. In light of this discovery, they concluded that the Edomite kingdom was formed by the middle of the 11th century BC, about 300 years earlier than previously thought. Genesis chapter 36 verse 31 says, "There was kings in Edom before there were any Israelite kings." The horn of an altar. A 2019 excavation at Tel Shiloh, the site where the Israelite tabernacle stood for several centuries, turned up what appears to be the corner of an altar. The discovery illustrates 1 Kings chapter 2 verse 28. Joab fled to the tent of the Lord and took hold of the horns of the altar. Goliath wall at Gath. The 2019 excavation at Tel El Safi, the Philistine city of Gath, reached a layer that dates to the 11th century BC, the time of King David. The walls of these layers are 13 feet thick, twice as thick as previously excavated walls from the 10th and the 9th centuries. Archaeologist Aaron Meyer called it the Goliath layer after the city's most famous resident of the time. Loaves and fishes mosaic. Archaeologists uncovered a mosaic in the ruins of a Byzantine church built around AD 450 in the Decapolis city of Hippos Susita. The church overlooking the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee was destroyed by the invaders in AD 614. These scenes of Jesus feeding the 5,000, found in an unexpected location, may have something to say about where that miracle took place. The traditional site of the feeding of the 5,000 is further north. A seal belonging to Gaaliahu's son of Aima. As the Temple Mount Shifting Project reopened in New Jerusalem location, researchers announced the discovery of a clay seal impression, identifying it as the first readable ancient Hebrew inscription found on the Temple Mount. The priestly family of Aima served in the temple according to 1 Chronicles chapter 24 verse 14. Pashur, son of Aima, is called the chief official in the temple of Yahweh. When he had Jeremiah beaten and put in the stocks, according to Jeremiah chapter 20 verse 1 to 2. a seal impression belonging to Adonijah, royal steward. Another bulle announced recently was found in sifted material taken from under Robinson's Arch at the southwest corner of the Temple Mount in 2013. It has been dated to the 7th century BC. 3 men in the Old Testament are named Adonijah, including a son of King David, but none of them lived in the 7th century. This is likely the 4th Adonijah. The position of royal steward is known from several biblical texts. The seal of Nathan Melek, the king's servant. This bulle was found in the Givati parking lot excavation, the largest ongoing excavation in Jerusalem since 2007. Archaeologists recovered this from the ruins of a building that was probably destroyed during the Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BC. In 2 Kings chapter 23 verse 11, Nathan Melek is described as an official in the court of King Josiah. The phrase servant of the king appears often in the Bible and on bulle. Kiryat Yearim, identified as Emmaus. In the story of Jesus and the 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus, in Luke chapter 24, from verse 18 to 34, the location of Emmaus is described as 60 Roman stadia from Jerusalem, which translates to 7 miles. For centuries, scholars have tried to pin down the location of Emmaus. Sites at various distances west of Jerusalem have been proposed, but without archaeological evidence. Israeli archaeologist Israel Feinkinston, known as a biblical minimalist and Bible critic, offered this new identification based on the Hellenistic era fortifications his excavation uncovered at Kiryat Yearim. He notes that there are 2 lists of Hellenistic fortified towns around Jerusalem, from the ancient historian Josephus and in 1 Maccabees chapter 9 verse 50. Both of them include Emmaus. Kiryat Yearim is 7 miles from Jerusalem. This city is mentioned numerous times in the Old Testament, most famously as a place where the Ark of the Covenant was held, according to 1 Samuel chapter 7 verse 1 to 2, before King David moved it to Jerusalem, according to 1 Chronicle chapter 13 from verse 5 to 6 and 2 Chronicle 1 verse 4. And finally at number 1, Pilgrimage Road opens in Jerusalem. When archaeologists discovered the New Testament era pool of Siloam in John chapter 9 verse 7 in 2004 during a sewer repair project, they also discovered the lower end of the 1st century street that led up to the Temple Mount. Since then, work has been underway to excavate the street so that Jewish and Christian pilgrims today can walk on the same road that Jewish and Christian pilgrims walked in the 1st century. This underground street is not entirely accessible yet, but the ceremony opening part of the street last summer drew the US ambassador among other dignitaries. Archaeological work in the City of David area, the oldest part of Jerusalem, is of great interest to both Christians and Jews, but it is also controversial. Many of the residents are Palestinian Arabs, and despite the effort of archaeological engineers, some have complained that their homes are being ruined because of the excavation underneath. So what is your thought on this? Kindly leave us a comment to let us know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, like and share with friends and family on social media. And don't forget to subscribe and enable notification so you will not miss any further updates. Thank you very much for watching.